I'm Jenny Brown, Sales Director at Mortgages for Business. Welcome to our weekly mortgage market update. Thank you both from myself and Otto, who has joined us this week. Thank you for taking the time to join us for our update. This week we've seen a fairly quiet week in terms of changes from the mortgage lenders. So we've seen the Skipton Building Society reduce their buy-to-let rates but up to 0.15%, so nice news from those guys. And we've also seen West One reduce their rental calculation on limited company mortgages. They had increased it to 135% coverage. They've now reduced that down to back to 125% coverage, which essentially aligns them with the rest of the limited company market. And they've also increased their loan to values on expat mortgages, up from 65 to 70% loan to value, so good news from those people. The other thing we've seen this week is the introduction from the Leeds of two holiday let mortgages, one at 60% loan to value and one at 70% loan to value, with rates starting at 2.84%. And really what they've said in anticipation of the launch of these new products is that they're reacting to the demand for holiday let mortgages from investors who are seeing a real uptick in terms of holiday let demand in the market. The other piece of lender activity that I wanted to touch on, and I don't normally go into homeowner mortgages, but this week, in the last couple of days, we've seen the announcement that both Nationwide and the Coventry are going to be offering 90% loan-to-value mortgages for homeowners. Now, Nationwide are only doing this for first-time buyers, and the Coventry have announced they're going into 90% lending for a limited number of days only, but they haven't given the specifics around the pricing or the criteria to access this. Now, the reason this is important is that the number of 90% loan-to-value residential mortgages is very, very low at the moment. So pre-lockdown, there were 779 90% loan-to-value residential deals available. And at the start of July, there were only 70. And this is partly linked, I'm sure, to some lenders having real reservations about higher loan-to-value lending, keeping in mind nervousness around house prices. But actually what the bigger driving force is, according to the lenders that we're speaking to, is that when they have 90% mortgages, because there's so few available, the demand for these is absolutely huge. And so the lenders will see a huge spike in new applications, which then struggle to service, and their processing times fall over. So the lenders are really monitoring their 90% lending volumes to ensure that they're not getting overrun with new inquiries. But it's great to see two new lenders come into the 90% or re-enter the 90% market, albeit from Coventry's perspective only temporarily. But I think this is going to be the way it goes for a period of time. Indeed, this is what we've been seeing over the last couple of months. So the lenders will move into the 90% loan-to-value space for a short period of time to allow applications to come in, and they pull back out again so they don't have time to underwrite those applications. The Nationwide, interestingly, have said their rationale for going back into 90% loan-to-value lending for first-time buyers is really to help support first-time buyers as a kind of package with the stamp duty holiday that was announced last week in the summer statement. More on that in a moment. So that's it in terms of lender activity this week. Not a huge amount going on, which is not a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination, particularly when we refer back to the start of lockdown when lenders were scaling back criteria at a rate of knots. So all fairly quiet on the Western Front this week. Touching briefly on some stats from the wider housing market now for you. The first thing that I wanted to share is that the ONS have forecast an additional 1.6 million households will be in the UK by 2018. And many of these will be living in rental accommodation. Now, last year in the UK, we had a record number of new homes built. We managed to get to 170,000 new homes, which is the highest number on record. But notwithstanding that, in the UK, we are still short of 1.2 million homes in the UK. So there's a housing gap of 1.2 million homes. So I did the maths and figured out that actually by 2028 we're going to have 1.6 additional households, and if we carry on building 170,000 homes a year over the next 8 years, we would still see the housing gap increase by a further 240,000 homes, leaving us with just shy of 1.5 million people or housing stock shortage in the UK. And I suppose the reason I really feel this is worth sharing is it just goes to demonstrate that the supply and demand issue for housing in the UK is by no means disappearing. In fact, it's being exacerbated. And as always, when there is a shortage of supply and a high demand, this will invariably drive up prices. So just something to keep in mind if you are thinking about investing in property over the coming few months and years. The other thing that I wanted to share with you is that Money Facts have reported that mortgages are the cheapest on record. So what they're saying is the average 2-year rate is now at 1.99% and the average 5-year fixed rate is at 2.25%. Now this will include homeowner mortgages, not just buy-to-lets. But I suppose really this just goes to serve as a reminder that if you are in the market for a mortgage, both homeowner and buy-to-let, now is a very good time to have a look at your options. Now this week I just want to talk to you a bit more about the stamp duty holiday which was announced in the summer statement last week. Obviously very exciting news. Judging by the way that even the people that come to our website have reacted, a lot of people are turning their thoughts to potential new investments. As a guide, our website gets on average between 12,000 to 14,000 hits. 14,000 would be an incredibly strong week. So 12 to 14,000 hits a week, and our website had 18,000 hits to it. So it really just shows how lots of people have taken the stamp duty news and are now thinking about investing in property. So first of all, just to recap, the stamp duty will be not payable for the first £500,000 of any new purchases. And this applies to first-time buyers, home movers, but also for buy-to-let investments and second homes as well. So if you're buying a property as your own home for £499,000, you will pay no stamp duty. If you are buying a second home or a buy-to-let through a limited company, you would, on the same scenario of £499,000, not pay any stamp duty at the normal rate, but the 3% surcharge would still be incurred. Anything over £500,000, you pay the stamp duty on the higher amount only. Again, for your own home, it's the normal rate of stamp duty. If it's a second home or a buy-to-let, either personal names or through a limited company, it's the normal rate of stamp duty on the amount over the £500,000 plus the 3% surcharge. Now what they're saying, the predictions are that this stamp duty holiday is going to save an average of £4,500 per buyer. So as you'd imagine, a lot of people who are thinking about moving home maybe in the next 12 months are looking to bring their plans forward now and act within the next 6 months. The deadline on completions and being able to access this stamp duty holiday, by the way, is that the completion needs to happen by the 31st of March next year. So we've got a 6-month window in which people need to act to take advantage of this. Now, in terms of ways this may benefit property investors and our client bank, and indeed what we're seeing some of our clients now thinking about. So obviously the first idea would be to simply increase your buy-to-let portfolio, which would make really good sense. There's a lot of money to be saved here. So we are certainly seeing landlords coming back out, having a look at the market and considering whether there's a property which would make a good investment whilst balanced obviously out with the stamp duty savings. So there's a kind of angle there. The next thing we're seeing is certainly more landlords who are thinking about maybe diversifying and considering a holiday let. So as I mentioned earlier on, there's a really strong demand for holiday let properties in terms of people, going to have their vacations in the UK. So it's a growth area, and some landlords are reconsidering their portfolio as maybe taking a couple of holiday let properties as a balance to their traditional buy-to-lets. And the third thing we're seeing some of our clients do is reconsider the possibility of incorporation. So where they have properties in their personal names, they're now considering whether it's a good time to consider selling those properties on to a limited company because of the way that they would be taxed on the rental income through a company versus personally held. So traditionally these guys may have looked at their buy-to-let portfolio, considered the costs of moving the properties across, looked at capital gains tax plus the stamp duty and decided that actually, whilst they understand the tax benefits in terms of the taxation on the rent of moving the property across the limited company would be good for them, the upfront cost really negated any saving. And we're now definitely seeing a surge in the number of our landlords who are revisiting this as a possibility and costing out the moving of the properties from personal to limited company as a way of kind of utilising the stamp duty holiday. So the good news here is that there are obviously some tax savings to be made, and there are some opportunities here for our clients to really have a think about. And as always, you know, if there is something on the cards for you guys which fits with these and you'd like to have a conversation around this, please do give us a call. We're always available on 0345 345 6788. That's everything from myself and Otto this week. Thank you as always for taking the time to join us, and we will catch you again next time.